Well, no, it's obviously I know what I want.
The conversation on that New York sideline continues as Cardale Jones was taken down, fumbled the football, was never touched, get up and throw to DeAndre Tompkins. And now he's taken down. That's clean living there by Cardale Jones and the DC defenders.
It looks good. I leave it up to the coaches because they got the problem of rotation and putting them guys in the right position. And I think so far so good. We do a pretty good job of getting the playmakers on the field and at certain times and knowing our strengths and weaknesses when they come to each and every receiver. But, I mean, I couldn't ask for a better core. Definitely here in the league.
This is the ball game. Cornelius towards the end zone, intercepted, game over. Kyle Cairo finishes it off. However, there is a flag.
Offense, number 71. That penalty is declined.
It won't matter. It's offensive holding until the game will end on another interception. And once again, this game has been all about defense all day long, and it finishes with the defense making the stop and sealing the victory.
Fun for us, I think, as a team, was to see the support we got from the fans just filling that bowl, and then again the Seattle fans just being loud, understanding how to help and wanting to. I thought the XFL did a tremendous job of creating the right atmosphere for our fans, and then it was great to be in a familiar place, and I couldn't be more excited for our players because most of our players, almost all of them, have never experienced the support like a stadium can give them, and that was kind of exciting for them. And I think they saw how the fans created the atmosphere, and in that creation, they just they felt at home as well, not out of place at all. And I hope we can continue to improve. We have a lot, we still have a lot to work on, and they know it. But they were resilient today, and we ended up being fortunate to win the game.
And now in the XFL, Landry Jones is trying to get right. He's going to unload deep down the sideline. Caught! First down, Dallas. First catch of the game for Joshua Crockett. And Dallas gets out of the shadows of the end zone with a 39-yard completion.
Definitely not me. Just gritty, keep playing, pull it out, and run game was great. This guy was awesome. Offensive line was really, really good. Lance played really well too, so really O-line, backs and receivers kind of bailed me out. Parham did a great job today. I should have hit him on that corner out, and then it would have been a different game, but shoot. Victory is victory.
His team on a 3rd and goal. Walker looking to throw, does so, caught, touchdown, Phillips number 3.
Cam Phillips is here, fakes the stop block, and he throws the ball across. That's a great wrinkle in the RPO. You see stalk, post. Great wrinkle, great play design there by June Jones.
Cam, talk about your connection with PJ. You guys 2 weeks in a row have really brought it.
I think that just comes from practice, just taking the practice reps serious, understanding that come game day that we're going to need to have that connection. So just talking through everything, that's from watching film and tendencies of the defense and the coach, Coach Jones, just calling plays and trying to find mismatches.
What is up, my friends? Welcome to another edition of the XFL Week in Review. I'm your host, Mark Perry from Xfl News Hub. And on this show, we got a Week 3 preview, plus a recap, as you just heard, of Week 2 in the XFL, and so much more. So if you didn't check out the scores, DC beat New York 27-0. Tampa lost to Seattle 9-17 with almost 30,000 fans in that attendance. Dallas finally starts winning 25-18 over LA. Still problems going on in LA, but they play better. Josh Johnson returns. And Houston over St. Louis, who put in a good effort. Though that questionable call at the end where the guy would look like he's offside, Jordan Ta'amu, threw it thinking that there was going to be a flag. There wasn't a flag. St. Louis loses to Houston 28-24. So what's up, my friends? Now, if you're watching on YouTube's, you're wondering what is behind me, what am I wearing? But of course, we'd like to thank our official sponsor of the XFL Week in Review podcast and TV show on YouTube, Mother's Cantina. That's right, Mother's Cantina. Now, where are they from? They're located in Ocean City, Maryland. And they are an official sponsor of XFL News Hub, XFL Week in Review. They are based in Ocean City, Maryland. They are a Tex-Mex kind of place. So Mother's Cantina whips up award-winning recipes of fresh Tex-Mex at affordable prices paired with the best margaritas in the heart of Ocean City, Maryland. With a focus on bold flavors and fresh, organic, and local ingredients, they create award-winning dishes and drinks to keep you coming back for more. Their new tortilla shop also offers quick carry-out pickup, market and beer, wine, and more to go. Swing by for their daily happy hour, 4 to 7 p.m., a festive dinner with family and friends, or a late night's food or snack or drink. Full menus, the whole thing, 10 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays to 11, light fare, drinks, all sorts of stuff. Now, if you're a fan of XFL News Hub, and we'll have a link to their stuff in the show notes and as well as on the website, you can go to motherscantina.com and actually order merch. They have T-shirts. They have sweatshirts. They were kind enough, if you check out this cool T-shirt I got here, Mother's Cantina, very cool shirt, Ryan and his crew over there at Mother's Cantina. But yeah, you can go yourself and actually order this stuff as well. But you can also order tortillas and different hot sauces all online as well. So if you just head over to their website, you can actually even find them on Amazon. But you head over to their website, you go to the right top of the corner, you click store, and you can get things like Mother's Sweet Hot Sauce. You can get pint glasses. Ryan and his crew, they are super fans of the XFL, and they're so excited that they're part of helping out DC with some of the food at the DC Defenders games. Got a chance to meet him. Super great guy. Totally into the XFL. They're into the XFL. So support the guys who are supporting the XFL News Hub Week in Review. You can go there and get, just head to the website. You can get T-shirts, all sorts of things. And then if you're in Ocean City, Maryland, this summer or anytime, you can stop by their place. They're located at 28th Street Plaza, 2810 Philadelphia Avenue, Ocean City, Maryland. That's motherscantina.com. Google it, search it up, motherscantina.com, motherscantina.com. And when you stop by their place or you order something online, just tell them XFL News Hub sent you. So we appreciate their sponsorship. Helps a lot with getting stuff produced. I got my cool T-shirt and sweatshirt wearing in here. Plus, if you're watching online, you could see the cool sponsor and their logo in the back. And you'll see them for the next month helping support the show, XFL News Hub Week in Review. So that's great. So tell them the XFL News Hub sent you. So with that out of the way, so how do you get in touch with the show? You email podcast@xflnewshub.com with your MP3s, your videos, or you call 888-430-7692, extension 3. Remember, cutoff time is 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, so we can play those things, get them all queued up, make sure you're not... Remember to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'll read it on the show. We appreciate those. And, of course, we got the question of the week, which is real simple. What are your thoughts of Week 2 of the XFL? Really curious to see. Now that we have the first buzz, the whole thing is over. Now we're into Week 2, getting into the nitty-gritty things. The fair weather fans are gone. The hardcore fans are in. They're the ones that watch the show. They're the ones that follow XFL News Hub. And now we're all in. I'm really curious to see how Week 2 went for you with the Week 2 of the XFL. So that is great thing too. Now, one thing I want to point out, though, this week is we're going into Week 3, my friends. And a little birdie told us not too long ago, and actually two little birdies, and we'll talk about the other birdie in a little bit. Antonio Brown. You remember him. Maybe you know of him. You've heard of him on the Sports Talk. Been talked about a lot. He's more of a Jekyll and Hyde. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I hate you all, you scum. Who knows what's going on in his life? And we pray for him and his family because it just seems crazy over there. But Antonio Brown did say that the XFL would only last 3 weeks. So we just kind of tee it up there for you. Next week we will hopefully, assuming everything goes well, I don't see this league closing in 3 weeks. We will celebrate next week on the show Antonio Brown Week as we cross a milestone and get 3 weeks in. But hey, I don't know. I haven't heard anything other than that the ratings are good. Everything is good. Signing new players. We'll get into all that news. So next week we'll celebrate Antonio Brown Week as we get past and we start talking about week 4 of the XFL season. Allegedly. According to Antonio Brown, it's not going to happen. So we got that next week. So in this week's show, we got our Players of the Week. We got our DraftKings recap, power rankings. We got my picks for next week. We got news. We got your social media stuff and so much more. So without further ado, my friends, let's just get into the week that was the XFL. And first up, we got our Players of the Week. We always got to announce our Players of the Week. This one, to me, was pretty easy. This is voted by the XFL News Hub staff. Your Offensive Player of the Week, Cam Phillips, with his big week. The Roughnecks had another big week, putting up 28 points in a shootout with St. Louis, which I was surprised that St. Louis played really well. I definitely will get into the power rankings in a little bit. Philip Walker tossed 3 TDs, all of them to Cam Phillips, former Virginia Tech Hokie, had 8 catches, 63 yards, and 3 of those were score, and has quickly become Walker's favorite target. He and Walker were on the same page all day, especially when plays broke down, especially in the red zone.
His team on a 3rd and goal. Walker looking to throw, does so, caught, touchdown, Phillips number 3.
Cam Phillips is here, fakes the stop block, and he throws the ball across. That's a great wrinkle in the RPO. You see stalk, post. Great wrinkle, great play design there by June Jones.
Awesome play for him. So Phillips is our Offensive Player of the Week. He's a former Buffalo Bill member, and he's the Roughnecks' leading receiver with 12 receptions, 130 yards, 4 TDs, and he's only 24 years old. Defensive Player of the Week, linebacker Steven Johnson from Seattle, who got their first victory of the season. Johnson really stepped up. He was an honorable mention last week and proved that he's the leader on defense in the 17-9 win over Tampa Bay. He logged 10 tackles on the day, made lots of big stops in crucial moments, and seems to have lived every time someone made a tackle, he was on there. And on any given play, he was flowing towards the ball. Huge part of the defensive squad that held the Vipers' offense to 0 touchdowns. I could make a silly comment and say that I can hold the Tampa Bay Vipers' offense to no touchdowns. Former Steeler, Denver, Tennessee, Baltimore, played with the AAF. Definitely the defensive guy in Seattle. And finally, our special teams guy, Rosa. He had a field day in the 27-0 blowout of the New York Guardians. And while everyone on the squad was firing on all cylinders, the kicker did a lot for the team he had. He was 3 for 3 for field goals and quickly became one of the most reliable place kickers. Remember, he wasn't there in the beginning. He is 5 of 6 of the season with a 54-yard field goal as well. Some honorable mentions, clearly Philip Walker, Cameras Artist Payne as well, 99 yards rushing and 2 TDs. He's up there with Philip Walker. Nelson Spruce, again, 11 catches, 103 yards. Defensive side, Marcel Frazier of Seattle had a TD return for touchdown. And linebacker Marcus Gates out of Houston, 9 tackles, 1 sack. Those are your XFL Players of the Week by your friends over at XFL News Hub. All right, next up on the show, we got the reviews. Let's take a look at our DraftKings League. Now, we ran into a little problem with the DraftKings League, and I have to say, I messed up somehow. Like, I don't know. I think I did something wrong where I didn't set it right. I think what I need to do, because I swore, and somebody else messaged me too, that we put in our lineups. I swore I did. But we got a lot of people. We got about over 20 people signed up for our league, and you can still get in. So if you want to be part of our DraftKings league, you can be in. The money is good. And you can see total prize is $40. That's the total prize money. So I think what I'm supposed to do is basically pick 20 spots, and then whoever signs up, I have to click a checkbox, and then if only 12 people sign up, it'll flex down to 12. I think that's what I did wrong. We'll see how this week's go. I think I got it right. I totally went to go check, and my name wasn't on there, but other people were. So get in there this week. Week 3 is already set up. They wouldn't let me delete it. So anyway. Coming in third was C-Heck. He had Philip Walker, James Butler, Sammy Coates. Again, nothing Sammy Coates. Cam Phillips lighting it up, 32 points. Khalil Lewis, another good. He got 9 points. Donald Parham from Dallas. He got 18 points. And then the Dragons, I'm picking any defense against Tampa Bay. They got 23 points, especially with that interception. And your number one guy, well, Zach was at the bottom, 46. He had Philip Walker, Nick Hawley, Eli Rogers. I was going to pick Eli Rogers too. He only had 9 points. Nick Truesdale. The offense isn't doing anything in Tampa Bay. I would kind of stay away from Nick Truesdale. James Butler is doing good. Colby Pearson got him 1 point on 1 catch. And the Guardians defense, how dare you pick the Guardians over my DC Defenders? What's wrong with you? That's why you're in last place, Zach. That's why you're in last place. The winning lineup with 136 points, 0.96. Jordan Tamu, 30 points. He played well. He's definitely, I was questioning him, but I think he's good to go. Larry Rose with 2. Don't even hear that name out there. Cam Phillips, there you go. Nelson Spruce, great pick there. Sammy Coates. We're all high on Sammy Coates. Nothing. Keenan Reynolds, a guy in there with a touchdown, 87 yards receiving on 3 catches and a 2-point conversion. And the Dragons defense. So there you have it. There are our DraftKings recap for the XFL Writers League. Next up on the docket of things that we're going to talk about are power rankings. This is from your friends at XFL News Hub. Now, Matt wrote this up, and I agree with all of what he picked here. So we're going to go through this. We'll start at the top. Some people have this a little differently, but we'll go through it. First up, number 1, DC Defenders. They're 2-0. Their defense played great. The Guardians did not look good. We are who we thought they were. I didn't think they played that well in the first game, but they got a win because they played Tampa. I could win against Tampa. I know I'm being mean. I'm being so mean. Houston Roughnecks at number 2. A lot of people had Houston Roughnecks at number 1, but again, they also gave up some points to St. Louis Battlehawks. We have St. Louis Battlehawks and at 3 as your power ranking. They are 1-1, but they put up some good offensive numbers. I think they can put it together. I think it's going to be DC and St. Louis in that division to close it out, with DC with a home game to make it to the championship game. Dallas Renegades moving up because Landry Jones is back. It took him a while to get started, Landry Jones, but he finally started to pick up the pace in the second half, threw some nice balls, and then got them on winning and moving, and their offense is moving, so I think they will start to make a run too. Seattle Dragons getting their first win as well. They looked okay. I'm not really sold on Brandon Silvers as your quarterback. Not really sold on him just yet. New York Guardians. I mean, they were talking about them at the on ESPN about Matt McGloin complaining about the playbook, very fixed mindset approach as compared to Landry Jones when they were interviewing him on the sideline. Though sometimes I think during the coverage they were a little too to the well with the quarterbacks. It's like, okay, maybe get like 2 or 3 questions in, but not like 10. It seemed like a little overkill for some of that stuff. Los Angeles Wildcats 0-2. Josh Johnson has returned. They played better. I think they would have been fine with Pepper Johnson as their defense. I don't know what the deal is with that. They are at number 7, and at number 8, the team that everybody hates. They're like the Yankees of the XFL or something. It is the Tampa Bay Vipers. They're 0-2. Offense looks stalled. Connor Falk had said over and over again about he's not sold on Aaron Murray. He didn't play. It wasn't his fault. They still didn't look that great, though they were kind of subbing out the quarterbacks and not giving them a chance to get any rhythm going, and that just kind of stalled them out. I thought Trestman would be a little bit better with that. So again, the final power rankings are from XFL News Hub. DC Defenders at number 1, Houston Roughnecks number 2, St. Louis Battlehawks at 3, Dallas Renegades at 4, Seattle Dragons at 5, New York Guardians at 6, 7 is the LA Wildcats, and 8 is your Tampa Bay Vipers. What else do we got on our list of stuff to do? We have my picks. That's right, my friends. My picks for this week coming up. That's what you want to see. That's what we're here about. Let's go through my picks. Now, I want to point out, before we get into my picks, last week I was 4-0. So I was 2-2 on week 1. Then I was 4-0 on week 2. So again, you gambling degenerates out there, do not bet your house. Do not spend your wife's purse money or whatever you're going to do. Your kid's 401, your kid's 509 plan on these picks. But gambling is a huge part of the XFL. And your boy, who kind of knows a little thing or two about the XFL, has his picks, and I'm here to help you out. For you degenerate gamblers out there, I got you. I'll help you so you won't look bad. First up, and again, with all of these games, totally take the under. No one's putting up big points. It's not, I mean, most of the time you could be safe with the under. I would take the under to be safe in some of these games, just to be safe, but I'm just throwing it out here. So first up, we have the Houston Roughnecks, the second best team, maybe some would argue the best team in the XFL, going up against the Tampa Bay Vipers at home. Vipers opening it up. I'm sorry, Tampa Bay Viper fans, but I'm going 32-9, your Houston Roughnecks over the Tampa Bay Vipers. Let's be serious. They haven't put this thing together. Houston's going to come in, bulldoze them, and this is going to be quick mincemeat. But again, you're not getting really close to that 40-point plateau, and I'm being generous with my 9 points. That's how bad their offense looked. Next up, the second game, the Dallas Renegades against the Seattle Dragons. Again, hopefully we'll get another nice crowd. If you can get that 25,000 in Seattle, or over that hit that 30,000, that would be fantastic. Dallas Renegades at Seattle Dragons. That's your that is your. Oh wait, did I get them backwards? I think I got them backwards. That is the 2 p.m. Pacific time, so that's 5 p.m. Eastern. That's why I got messed up. Who's going to win? Taking Dallas Renegades. This is probably maybe your only over. I don't know, maybe. Just because Landry Jones has got a game under his belt, took him to the second half to get going. I think they're going to be firing all cylinders now. They just needed that game to kind of work out the kinks. They're ready to rock and roll. Seattle is a decent team, not totally sold on Brandon Silvers, but they got some good players. We'll see if that CFL guy gets some playing time, more playing time that they just recently brought in. And so I got Dallas Renegades 34, Seattle Dragons 26. On the Sunday game, we got the New York Guardians at the St. Louis Battlehawks opening up at the Battle Dome, the Dome in St. Louis. It'll be their first home game, and it's against a good team to have your first home opener. And we'll see what the attendance numbers will be there. We're hearing potential sellout as well. You're going to have, your Guardians 12, St. Louis Battlehawks 26. I'm even being generous with New York. Seattle, St. Louis, I keep doing that too. And Zach did that too. We both keep saying Seattle Battlehawks. It's St. Louis Battlehawks. Gotcha. St. Louis, I'm sorry, St. Louis fan. Your St. Louis Battlehawks. I did that last week's episode too. St. Louis Battlehawks, 26 points. Jordan Ta'amu looks good. Defense looks good. I think they're the third, like we said in our rankings, they're the third best team in the XFL. Guardians are not looking good. I know that initially during the beginning of the season, there was a lot of worry about the offensive line play for New York. And I was surprised we didn't see Luis Perez in the game as well towards the end. I don't even know who they put in. But I'm going St. Louis Battlehawks, 26, New York Guardians, 12, and that's at St. Louis's home opener. Excited. That's going to be a lot of fun to check that out. And finally, the DC Defenders, your team, America's team. That's right, Dallas fan. America's team, the DC Defenders taking on the Los Angeles Wildcats. Josh Johnson is back. Again, he gets a game under his belt. He started to look good. They have the offensive weapons. But DC, this is a game where maybe Los Angeles could win. Why? Because usually East Coast teams don't travel well to the West Coast. That's kind of like a known thing in the NFL world. This is their first away game. Josh Johnson has got a game under his belt. This is their second home game, Los Angeles. But I still can't pick against America's team, the DC Defenders. So I'm going to make this a close one. DC Defenders 28, Los Angeles 25. DC Defenders have got a good defense, and you got Rocket Ross and Anthony Johnson want to have a little payback. This is a little personal game for some of your DC Defender players that were on the Wildcats and then were traded to DC. So there you have it. Those are my picks for the week. Lock it. I was 4-0 last week. The week before, I was 2-2. Remember, you can also check out our pet picks where my cat, Jasmine, and Zach's dog, Stormy, make picks as well. Because they're just as smart as us when it comes to this. Let's be honest. We can do all the data analysis that we want. But again, you never know what happens. And you never know what happens in the XFL. When the game is really close or the game is out of reach, a team could score 9 points real quick and they're right back in it. And that's what they've talked about all season long leading up to the league. And now it's finally here and it can happen. All right, we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back with the news and your social media stuff right after this. Stay tuned, my friends.
What's up, XFL Army? If you're a fan of the XFL News Hub and you have a telephone, which I know all of you do because you're sitting there playing on your phones all the time, then why not download the XFL News Hub app? That's right, it's on iTunes. It's on Android. We have an Android version and an iPhone version of the XFL News Hub app. So what do you get? You get the latest news from XFL News Hub, the premier source of XFL news in the universe. Plus, you get push notifications when we have breaking news. You will be the first to know. You can leave a comment on some of the news right from your phone. Plus, you get this podcast on your phone as well. Remember, you can leave us reviews on the Google Play Store or iTunes. It links to other social media, our other social media accounts, and so much more. Be in the know. I know you're on your phones. People are on their phones all the time. They never get off their phones. So why not just download the XFL News Hub app on your Android or iPhone today? All you need to do is go to the Google Play Store or iTunes and just type in XFL News Hub. That's XFL News Hub. Download our app on your phone today.
Your XFL championship game will be played in Houston, Texas. That's right, my friends. The XFL, the Harris County Sports Authority, and the University of Houston announced this past week at a news conference that Houston, Texas, the TDECU Stadium on the University of Houston campus will host the league's championship game Sunday, April 26, 2020. The game will feature the league's championships from the East, DC, from the West, Houston. That could be a home game. And will be televised nationally on ESPN at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. They're tremendously excited, blah, 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 to have the game there, blah, blah, blah. Houston's a great town. We got it, all that other good stuff. Now, TD Stadium, which opened in 2014, has a capacity of more than 40,000 people. Is the home of the Houston Roughnecks and University of Houston Cougars football team. Has won numerous awards for its design, construction, offers a variety of premium seats, including 26 suites, 42 lodge boxes, 766 club seats, 2 suite decks, and 4 party decks. It also has an abundance of tailgating areas around the stadium, which will add to the pregame festivities. Now the question is, so tickets. Tickets for the XFL Championship will go on sale to the general public starting in March at xfl.com/championship. Ticket prices will be released at time with priority status given to founding XFL season ticket members. That would be me, and not you. Now the question is, it's in Houston. It's in April. Do your friends from XFL News Hub make the trip out there and throw down a super big party that Saturday night and then have a tailgate Sunday? Thinking about it, mulling it over, seeing how things go this season. We're thinking we need to do something, XFL Army. We got to be at this game, April 26th, Houston, Texas. That's the place to be. I was hoping for Florida. I'm fine with Houston. I'm really curious to check out the stadium and hang out there in Houston, Texas with all of the other XFL Army members. So the XFL has been making a big push signing CFL guys. So the XFL continues to attract football talent from around the continent as Derek Dennis joins the XFL reserve pool in Team 9. Now, who is this person? He's a 31-year-old, is a 3-time CFL West All-Star with nods in 2016, 2018, and 2019. That's this year. He's an All-Star this year. And he won the Grey Cup with the Calgary Stampeders 2 years ago. He spent the first 4 years of pro career as a reserve player with the Dolphins, Patriots, Bears, and Panthers. He even made an appearance in the Arena Ball. He couldn't crack a starting lineup at the NFL. However, he's made his way to North Canada in 2015, and the rest is history. Bone Crusher is known, exploded onto the scene in his first year at Calgary, earning the starting left tackle job and keeping it through their playoff run. In 2016, he started all 18 games on the line, held down the blind side, and earned the CFL's Most Outstanding Offensive Lineman Award. We weren't anticipating this. We thought that maybe after the season, the XFL might be pulling some of these CFL guys in. Are they guys doing it for $50,000? Or are they doing it for more? That year he flashed serious skills as both a pass blocker. Calgary had the fewest sacks allowed and a mauler in the run game. Jerome Mason held the CFL rushing title in 2016. He signed with Saskatchewan in 2017 and started 15 games there, moved back to Calgary. 2018, he was a 20-game starter at left tackle, won the Grey Cup. His second run with the Stampeders, earned 2 more Western Division All-Star spots. He puts up elite performance at a premium position and is yet to re-sign with Calgary this offseason. The fact that he's bringing his talents back to America and the XFL is incredible for the league. When he gets up to speed with Team 9, all XFL 8 teams will be vying for him to bring him in their building. With 72 pro starts and a long list of awards, he's by far the most accomplished lineman in the XFL. At 31 years old, he has just 5 years of pro football mileage, and a massive 6'3", 345-pound frame. Can guarantee that teams will be frothing to sign this guy. Interesting that they brought in one of the best wide receivers in the CFL, one of the best offensive tackles. Does the XFL, based on things that are going on, do they have money to pay these guys? I'm surprised that they would leave the CFL for $50,000, which is even less now because the season already started, with the XFL. Stay tuned for XFL News Hub over the next couple of days if we might see some more CFL stars making their way to Team 9 and the XFL. Interesting. We talked about this earlier, but the Wildcats traded Anthony Johnson to the DC Defenders for a cornerback. So we know the whole thing. Anthony Johnson was the defensive captain, playing under 5-time Super Bowl champion Pepper Johnson. The day basically after they lost the game, Anthony Johnson was out, Pepper Johnson was out, but the DC Defenders traded Bradley Silva to the LA Wildcats for Anthony Johnson, and he made an impact in the pass rush for the DC Defenders in their Week 2 win against the New York Guardians. Now, head coach Winston Moss made those changes, but Johnson is no stranger to Washington, D.C. football, playing with the Redskins. He's also reunited with his teammate Rashad Ross, Rocket Ross. They were in L.A. training camp together. Bradley Silva played for the University of Alabama. He won 2 BCS national championships, recorded a pick 6 in the Defenders' 31-19 win over the Seattle Dragons on the first week of the season. And there you have it. But the DC Defenders will be playing LA this weekend, Week 3. Little matchup. You think there's going to be a little trash talking going on there? Week 2 in the XFL brought some pretty good ratings. According to our pal Mike Mitchell, ABC's Week 2 averaged 2.2 million viewers. Saturday, the Defenders' 27-0 victory over New York Guardians averaged 2.1 million viewers, according to Nielsen. The telecast peaked around 3:15 to 3:30 with 2.3 million viewers. Top markets: Ohio, Cleveland, West Palm Beach, Cincinnati, Vegas, Dallas, Washington, D.C., Dayton, Pittsburgh, and Seattle. The Dallas Renegades' 25-18 victory over the Los Angeles Wildcats averaged also 2.3 million viewers, according to Nielsen. Peaked at around 5:45 with 3.3 million viewers. Top markets were Dallas, checking in, I guess, maybe on some competition in their division. New Orleans, Norfolk, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Richmond, Columbus, Ohio, Houston, Nashville, Austin. I was watching them all. No doubt. Where's my numbers in there? Connor Falk, a pal from XFL News Hub, wanted to and made this good point. Want to know about the XFL staying power compared to the AAF? Week 2 TV ratings for the XFL, 2.2 million with a peak at 3.3. This is just ABC. Week 2 for the AAF, 1 million on TNT and 425,000 on the NFL Network. Now, granted, they are bigger networks, cable networks, but the point is 1 million people watch the AAF, 400,000 watch the NFL. You can watch the XFL and you'll get 2.2 million people. And that's with some other sporting things going on as well. So it's great. This is great numbers for me. I don't know about you, but I think the XFL so far has that staying power. The question is, it might go down a little bit more. I wonder if when is it going to hit the bottom and start to climb back up? Could that be next week? We'll see. For you gambling degenerates, and I say that so kindly, according to a report from the Action Network, sports bettors put up a lot on the line for Week 1 of the new XFL season. The report states that the total amount bet was 20 times larger than the entire handle bet of the Alliance of American Football. So, you took the entire AAF betting pool of money. I guess that the total amount bet was 20 times larger than the entire handle bet. I assume that's all the bets in the first week, or is that the whole season? But 20 times larger. He said the XFL, quote, the XFL was as big as some other popular leagues on the sportsbook. Nearly 25% of the bettors who placed bets with us this weekend placed a bet on the XFL. That's a DraftKings spokesperson for the Action News Network. Says that Saturday, DraftKings and FanDuel saw an increase of 20 times. That was the first 2 games of the AAF of the previous season. So there you go. This number could be affected by different circumstances. More states now offer legal sports betting. That could be a combination of things too. But we saw momentum build on the XFL as the weekend progressed. Handle on XFL games increased by 55% from Saturday to Sunday, and a bet count increased from 31% from Saturday to Sunday. This is from somebody from FanDuel. So as you can see, fans were into betting on the XFL. And really, I think that's the strength of the league right now, is for the bettors will sustain the league and get the league going. then the casual fan, it will take them a year or two to come into the fray. But so far, so good. The number, I mean, the only thing is the fantasy football, they totally dropped the ball on that. I think you would have brought in a lot more people had you had fantasy football, but that's a great tool in the arsenal for next season. I know what you're thinking. Well, you listening on podcasts, you have no idea what I'm talking about. We said we would not talk about him anymore, but we had to. Jonathan Manziel was in the news again. So after the first week of play, triggered a wave of support across the country with celebrities, athletes, and fans turning out in droves for the XFL. The average game attendance was 17,000. The fans continue to open up, the stadiums continue to open up seats while growing on demand. This doesn't mean that the league didn't have some critics. One of them, Antonio Brown, criticized it a while ago. The other is Jonathan Manziel. That's right, Jonathan Manziel. Comebacks SZN. Is that your handle for your car insurance stuff? It says it's still alive if y'all ain't know. Okay. Just not playing for another league that is going to fold on you midway through the season. Oh, Jonathan. Now, his name was thrown around earlier this past year, but was not selected by any team in the XFL draft. And Oliver Luckett stated that the XFL's quarterbacks are better than Johnny Football. He did mention that. We all know about Manziel, Texas A&M, 7,000 yards, 63 touchdowns. He was a great player, struggled, was drafted 22nd overall in 2014 with the Browns. Alouettes, he just kind of bailed on them. Floundered in the AF last year, throwing 65 yards and a pick. And he was out of the league, plus his off-the-field issues. So we're going to have Jonathan Manziel Day. Jonathan, we have next week is Antonio Brown week, where we celebrate the fact when Antonio Brown said, hey, there's only going to be they're only going to play 3 games. We'll celebrate that. We'll celebrate Jonathan Manziel, week 6, XFL season. We'll celebrate him. According to him, we're not going to make it. Who are you going to bet on, Johnny Manziel or your pal, Mark Perry? I was at the game, and the biggest giant beer snake of cups was big. It was impressive. Took pictures of it. It made its way all the way to Sports Center. We have pictures on Xfl News Hub, but the XFL talked from day one about it. It's all about the quality play and the XFL fans. Well, the DC Defenders shut out the New York Guardians 27-0. Towards the end of the game, Defenders fans started stacking beer cups together and started making a bigger and bigger stack. Now, I have called these guys the District Wildings because they stand in the standing room only section of Audi Field, which is a great spot, and they're the most rowdy fans in the league, I would say, and in the stadium. There's no doubt about it. Getting the chance going of MVP for Cardell Jones. So the Wildlings decided to put together this stack of cups, and it kept growing. I took more pictures of it from my seat. Other people took it from other angles. You can check out XFL News Hub to see how huge this thing was going. And, of course, it made it to Sports Center.
Sports Center tonight after Gonzaga and Pepperdine. Highlights and reactions to the NBA dunk contest. Plus, Zach LaVine looks to become the first player to win the dunk contest and the three-point contest. And Tiger tries to get back into contention at Riviera. Sports Center.
So they basically showed the beer snake of the century while they were doing commercials for Sports Center. And we also have some video of fans outside of the stadium with this thing. Though I don't know if we have any audio. No audio on it, but there's video of the fans outside parading this thing outside the stadium as well. So it was a fun night. Oh, wait, we do have a video? Do we have any audio? No, we don't. But the District Wildlings are out. Now, the question is this going to be a tradition that the standing room section stacks the beer cups after each win? They just better not do it well, clearly they're not going to do it in the beginning of the game because there's not enough cups. Just be smart about it and be cool about it. If the DC Defenders win, stack the cups starting in the fourth quarter if the game is over. That's what you got to do, fans. And we call them the District Wildlings, the Wildlings from Game of Thrones, and they're out there for the XFL DC Defenders. All right, my friends, we are back. What's up in the social media or our fan room, our chat room? Remember to check out Mother's Cantina, motherscantina.com for all your Tex-Mex stuff, sauces, fajitas. We ate them last night. They were great. They even got, for your pal like me, gluten-free corn tortillas that you can have. Kids love them. The sauces were great. So definitely check out Mother's Cantina for all your Tex-Mex stuff. And you can order this stuff online. You can order the sauces, the shirts, and the tortillas. So give them a shot. Give them some love. Tell them you're supporting the XFL News Hub, supporting their business, who's helping support us to pay the bills. Because, man, let me tell you something. Our bills went up when this season started, big time. It was very, very great problem to have, but a very depressing one, too, when you start to see the numbers. You're like, oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Suck it up, Mark. You're fine. Okay. First up, let's get to some social media stuff first. The XFL sold more tickets than the AAF did. Bobby says, man, I love not seeing caws. Keep it up. John says, I predict if the XFL is ever able to offer players the kind of money the NFL does to attract better talent, the NFL will either turn into a minor league or go under. The XFL is just more entertaining and not by a little. Brandon says, marketing helps. I haven't heard about the AAF until it already started. By that time, I found out about it. I tried to find a game to watch on TV, and it already folded. Yes. Sundara says, been waiting 19 years since the 2001 to see the XFL be reborn again with new teams, and this weekend has been more exciting than watching any other football league. It has been a lot of fun, no question about that. About the championship game being played in Houston, Travis says, let's hope they're smart about the game time and it's not before 5 p.m. You are correct. It is not. Dale says, I'd rather see it in the home field of the team with the best record. That would be too hard to plan out because you wouldn't know that with the best record. Yeah, I mean, but then you'd have to – we're already making plans in March. So that would be too late. Jim says, I think it's the right choice. They started training camp there, so let's finish the season. Yeah, I agree. I think 20,000 in D.C. would be too small. You want to sell it out, but you could easily sell it out, but 20,000 would be too small. I think 40,000 is a good number. You hit that this year, you sell it out strong, season tickets up, and you're back in at it next year. Then I think maybe you can go, I would say maybe Seattle has a good following, or you try to New York. Guardians, get that game in there as a possibility. But, yeah, I think 40,000 is a good pick to get this game off. And Houston got Texas. You got Houston Roughnecks and Dallas, especially if Bob Stoops makes it. I think it was a good pick. I wanted Florida, I know, but I'm fine with Houston too. Our review, did the stadium builders put a multicolored seats to spot the MC, make it spot harder? He's talking about the New York team. I don't even know why I put that one in there. That one was kind of lame. About Jonathan Manziel, TL Trout says, no thanks. He's just a silver spoon-fed party boy. His skill set and lack thereof is the only reason he's not playing pro football. The XFL has no place for him. The NGL might take him. Not really sure who that is. Who's the NGL? Woodrow says, why take the opinion of somebody that hasn't ever has been in the NFL and turned out to be a never was? What would he know about success? Hey, Jonathan is doing some commercials, folks. He's got the car thing going on or something. So let's be nice to Jonathan. Let's see. Brandon says, I never watched the AAF because I really didn't know it existed until it was shutting down. However, the XFL was marketed well and different rules make it unique. I watched every game last weekend and thought they were good. I like watching play calls, the replay booth. I like the replay booth too. I think the teams play, as the teams play, they'll get better. I agree with you there. About my man Mike Mitchell's across the XFL, great content every week. David says, a lot of people need to read this article. Too many talking heads on Facebook are treating the XFL as a developmental league for the NFL. And bingo, there is an article that clearly states that the players sign an exclusive contract with the XFL. No NFL exemptions. This is true. It is a contract with the XFL. Once the XFL season is over, then they can do what they want. But during the season, it's all XFL. Once you sign that contract, you are in, my friends, in. I mean, do you think Philip Walker and Cardell Jones are gone next year? I think Philip Walker is already. Let's go to our question of the week, your reaction to week 2 in the XFL. Howard says, my son, a Seahawks fan and Dragons fan, and I like the new rules and faster pace. The players hustled and the uniforms, logos are cool. And NFL Dolphins fan, but these teams are fun to watch. Go XFL. All right. Joseph, we need a team in Pittsburgh. No, we don't. Forget you about Pittsburgh. We don't like Pittsburgh. Us Baltimore Ravens fans. Pittsburgh, you don't need anything. You're fine. Pittsburgh, you're fine. You can pick St. Louis or America's team, which should be the DC Defenders, and you're fine. We don't need a team in Pittsburgh. Sorry. Hate to break it to you. Zach, a top fan, says, Wakanda forever. More like CXFL to me. It is everything they wanted in a football league that only the NFL or college has just started talking about doing well. And I have news for all of them about the XFL has already done all the things they have only talked about for as long as most of us have been watching the football. Tony says, I love this reincarnation of the XFL. Steve-O says, great way to keep up the love of football going. A wonderful chance. A lot of players to get on the field and showcase their amazing talent. As you can see, Shields Up. Oh, Shields Up with the money. Donald posting that in there. I like that one too. You can see fans are totally into it. They're excited about the XFL. On to the Instagrams. Is this working? Let's hit refresh. There we go. Got some love it, although this is Carter Parent 29. Although I only got to see the fourth quarter of the Renegades, blah, blah, blah. It was insanely entertaining to watch. Agree with that. Great games with like cheerleaders. That ain't happening. They're totally staying away from that. Dubal R. Ricky Rodriguez says, we choked. Talking about L.A. Yeah, L.A. looked better. I think they'll be all right. I think L.A. will be all right. I'm a little leery about them, but they're not Tampa. They're not Tampa Bet. On to the Twitter asking about reaction. XFL Chick says they must taking all this in. Hold on. I'm just taking this. She's just taking it all in. XFL Chick is just taking it all in. XFL Insider says my week number 2 reaction. Walker and Tama will head to Houston on April 26th to fight for the MVP and the XFL Championship. Walker and Tamu? You think? What about America's team? The DC Defenders, my friend. But I think Houston and DC. But St. Louis has surprised me. I would say that they're, for me, the surprise team in the XFL. Chat room. My friends on the chat room over there. Over here. What do you think? You think St. Louis is the surprise team of the XFL? That would be a good question next week. But I want reaction. I want still more reaction. Who are your surprise teams, chat room? We'll get to you guys in a second. On to more. Steve says, my reaction is play got better. Broadcasts are fantastic. Attendance is good. As our YV ratings, merch is selling out. IMO so far. The XFL is a big success. But my biggest reaction is why wouldn't you give the XFL a chance? Watch a game. Go to a game. Still there's idiots out. Oh, my friend, yes. Like our friend, not real friend, Mike Florio, that we're not a fan of. Still hating on it. Oh, well, you're not going to pay these guys enough. Or the ratings dipped. Of course they're going to dip. No one would think that they would go up. But you're doing it just to be a little baby. Because NBC didn't get it. And like I said before, your masters would have disapproved you talking trash. But I didn't realize, and I don't even know, I heard of Mike Florio. I don't follow Pro Football Talk. I didn't before. I've been an NFL fan for years. I didn't realize how many people hate that guy. And it made me feel better. Like, I'm not the only one. And just to be a baby, that's him. That's him. You can meme that one. Meme that one. That's a little joke me and my friends do, whatever. It's fine. Hey, we still got some more stuff to go over. Like, how about a phone call?
What's up? This is Mr. Trey from the Wake and Bake America show on Blaze 98.5 FM in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And I just wanted to tell you, love the podcast. We're dialed in fully. Me and my sports partner podcast team are with you on this, man. First off, I do got to tell you, I do not agree with you on Walker for MVP, but of course I have the advantage of seeing week 2 already. Cardell Jones is absolutely, at this point, 2 weeks in, the MVP of the league. No way the XFL can look at anyone else at this point. Secondly, expansion teams. That's what we covered on our podcast about the XFL this weekend with the expansion teams. I like some of the ideas that are being kicked around on expansion teams like Omaha. But I got to tell you, you want to get a market team, you need to get one in Colorado. Lastly, who do we love out here in Colorado right now because we don't have a team? I got to go with the Tampa Bay Vipers. I don't care if we're 0-2. Shout out to the DC Defenders for doing so well. And we love the rule change. On our podcast, because we do NFL podcasts normally during the NFL season, the one thing I can tell you is the NFL League has a lot to learn from the XFL. I'm going to keep listening, brother. Best of luck to you.
Thanks for the phone call. I'm confused. How you live in Denver and you pick Tampa Bay? Wouldn't you pick LA or? But hey, maybe you've got Florida. I don't know. Now we've talked about expansion teams before. Let me tell you, I doubt Denver is going to have a team. I get it, but I don't think so. I think if you're going to get an expansion team, it's going to be 2. I think San Diego is going to be 1. You'll get another. Because they have the NFL stadium and they have a fan base that got spurned, whatever. I'm not buying Las Vegas as a town. I know that there's other cities that they want them to. I mean, you might go Boston might get a team. I mean, you're going to go with they're going to do a major market. They're not going to do a secondary market if they're going to do an expansion team. But your AAF dreams are whatever, they're not going to happen. My AAF friends. Oh, Idaho, Omaha. It's going to be major markets to continue that trend before we get into any other stadiums. I'm sorry, friends. I'm sorry. All right, let's take a couple emails. First up, Jason says, hi there. First of all, great podcast and site. Thank you very much. Got a lot of compliments there. Been on multiple radio shows and TV shows, and everybody that come across always says, hey, love the website is awesome, and I love the podcast, and I appreciate everybody's kind words. It makes me feel good that I know that I'm giving you something that's good that you like. I've seen the average TV ratings for the first XFL week, but I can't find anywhere the TV ratings was for the Los Angeles market only. Do you happen to know that or will be able to get that? Thanks, Jay. Checking in. They're only kind of giving out the top 10 numbers. They're not giving out, I'd be curious, like DC numbers, I'd be really curious to see the super breakdown. I'm going to try to see, there's some sites out there that do that via like the wrestling websites used to get ratings between NXT and AEW. I'll have to look into those and see if we can get some deeper numbers. I'm curious too, but usually they don't give them that detailed. You got to like pay for that kind of stuff. But it's a good point. I mean, I'd be curious to see LA's too. I'm not sold on LA as a great sports market. I'm just not. All right, Jim checking in. Oh boy. Oh, this is Cutter checking in. He says, hey, I just finished listening to podcast number 49 and enjoyed it very much. I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, and grew up in St. Louis, Big Red Cardinals football team, formerly Chicago Bears, now the Arizona Cardinals. I was heartbroken when they left, but understood the reasons. Okay. When the Rams came here in 1994, I had hope in the NFL renewal. FYI, the Rams averaged $47,000 per game ticket sales, while the St. Louis desperately only had 4 winning seasons in 20 years and setting the record for worst 5-year record in NFL history. St. Louis is about 1/6 the population of LA. That is all misinformation, people who believe the NFL moved the Rams due to low fan turnout. I am in the heart of St. Louis Blues fans. I bleed blue and watch the Blues religiously for 47 years. 2019 Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues. I had to give a shout out for my favorite team. When Stan, the sleazeball, such bleep, piece of bleep, Kroenke screwed over the hometown and moved the Rams back to LA in 2016, I stopped, like many people in St. Louis, watching the NFL. I have not watched a game since. I go to Super Bowl parties to visit, eat, and socialize, but leave before halftime. Interesting. All that being said, I played football in high school and loved the game. I still watch the Mizzou Tigers and enjoy many of the AAF games. I was very excited when the XFL announced the relaunch. And when they announced St. Louis as one of the original teams, that excitement doubled. I awaited the start of the season with glee. I was not disappointed. The game flow was excellent. The interview and transparency and penalty calling was a breath of fresh air. I like the extra point rule change. I'm not sold on the extra point rule change yet. I have long held the opinion that the extra point kick should be eliminated from the NFL as it is 98% successful. Why not just give the extra point and move on? The NFL has horrible officiating. The rules are overcomplicated, i.e. fair catch, true. For no apparent reason, and the games take way too long due to stopping for commercial breaks every 2 downs and making watching the game at the stadium tedious. The NFL has become so in love with itself that the games can no longer be called football. I agree with some of what you're saying there. And watching the game in the stadium, I mean, you got to go back. You got to get back to your seats because we're rolling. We're rolling. Halftime is only 10 minutes. We're rolling. I hear you. The pace of the game. Looking forward to seeing the LA Rams fall into the same funk they had when they're St. Louis, and to see if the so-called LA fans continue to show support when they suck for 5 to 10 years as they did here. But me, I'll be watching the St. Louis Battlehawks from the XFL now on. Go Battlehawks. Caw, caw. Sincerely, Cutter Andrews. Caw, caw it is, my friend. Caw, caw it is. Let's take another phone call. Thanks for the email.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for answering my question there on your radio show about Eric Dungy. I really appreciate that. I too also found out later that he had to go on leave, not because he was injured, but from he had to deal with a personal family issue. So he's taking a 3-week leave and coming back. And I don't know anything about that Ole Miss quarterback. Do you know? Could you tell me something about him? Is he good? Is he bad? What was he like? I just don't know anything about him. I'll do some of my own research, but I know you're really on top of all this stuff. So what could you tell him about it? And I'm hoping Eric, oh, no, sorry, not Eric. Landry Jones there has a good game versus the Wildcats, and Dallas gets their first win. Anyway, thanks for answering my question. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have a good weekend watching the XFL.
All right, thanks for the phone call. I was talking about the roster here, the quarterback. Let's see. Eastern Michigan is Brogan Roback. Oh, East Carolina is Philip Nelson. And then Landry Jones. That's basically it. I think maybe who he was referring to might have been cut. But yeah, Brogan Roback is the guy. Now, he played for the St. Louis Battlehawks for a little while, and then they let him go. Oh, I'm looking. You want to see what I'm looking at? Let's see here. I'm looking at their roster right now. Yeah, those are your 3 guys. Landry Jones, Philip Nelson, who we saw him in the first week, and none of us were impressed. And then Brogan Roback. So as soon as what would be real interesting is if Brogan, when Eric Dungy returns, does Philip Nelson get let go and Brogan Roback stays? I mean, he has a chance to maybe have some staying power here in your DC for Dallas. Interesting. Let's see here. More emails from our friends here, XFL News Hub. Appreciate everybody checking in. We got this long one. Let's see. Greetings. First of all, I'd like to say that I have something to write about you. The simple reason that I think the XFL is one of the most exciting things happening in professional sports in a long time. I'd given up watching football out of guilt I felt seeing the players smashing each other's brains out. I was with there for a little bit when it comes to I had a problem with that for a little while. I'm with you. Each other's brains in during games. Enjoyed fantasy football. Found myself seeking updates on the concussion protocol list before anything else, being unable to select players whose brains I knew were obviously still rattled. I also found it impossible to cheer for or bet on players who have been found guilty on domestic or other personal violence, even though I knew that they would likely be the ones scoring. How can I feel pride in supporting rampant misogyny and unabashed sexism? How can I not get tired of spending time watching a sport where the only females I almost ever see are jumping up and down, waving poms? After I added to that the Jets, Steelers, and Eagles, my former hometown team, the teams I boycotted after they swept up the Falcons throwaway and drafted Michael Vick long after the whole world knew what kind of person he is, I really wasn't able to feel good about professional football at all. How could I even look at my kids in the eye? Then the NFL made it easy for me to say goodbye by hiring Vic to coach in the Pro Bowl, forcing me to look at his face on the big screen in the middle of my living room and promoting part one of their special movie presentation, which I assume we're going to supposed to feel sorry for him. That was it. Nausea took over. I let everyone know that my relationship with professional football was over just in time for the Super Bowl. Well, the bowl came and went. I deleted DraftKings and FanDuel from my browser favorites and felt sad that my best friend and I would have no more football and fantasy sports fun in our future. Until he convinced me to watch the first game of the revived and revised updated XFL. Less than 5 minutes into the first quarter, I was taking screenshots and saving photos of the female referees to show my daughter and granddaughter. I turned the game on in the living room, feeling happy that I could have a little fun again with my friends and now even my family without feeling like a hypocrite. Maybe I missed it, but I watched all 4 games and never saw a military jet looming threatening overhead, which I appreciate very much as an anti-war Army veteran. I feel in closing that my input may not be immediately dismissed should I choose to identify myself, a 65-year-old grandmother of 4 who is also a fantasy sports and XFL football fan. Very cool. Thanks to everyone who made this possible and for restoring my optimism in professional football. Darlene, Asheville, North Carolina. Yes, I'm with you on the concussion thing. That was bothering me too when that whole thing started coming out. And I had a hard time watching it too. And guys were jumping around. They still headbutt each other. And I'm like, why would you headbutt each other? Don't you know anything about the concussion deal? Why would you do that? I don't get it. Why would you do that? But hey, and I appreciate your candor there, and I think that's great that you're back watching the XFL, and the XFL brought you back. I think it brought back a lot of fans. Let's check the chat room a little bit. Yeah, let's see. Richard says, yeah, that would be great. I would be able to make XFL games in Alabama. I don't think they'll do that. Classic Sports, I don't think Texas will get a third team. San Antonio led the AAF. Yeah, I don't think they will. Classic Sports says San Diego, Orlando, our chances. San Diego, yes. He also says Philly is a rumor. Richard says San Antonio would be great. Oklahoma, Boston, Alabama. I would think you would get Boston. He says Oklahoma is building a soccer stadium. That could be interesting. Though I don't think Oklahoma is a big sports town. I don't know about that. Yeah, Kansas City may be another possible team out there. Those are from our friends from the chat room. Classic Sports. Sergeant Pickles 13. Who else is out there? Richard, our man Richard and Shay Rayner. Oh, speaking of Richard, we got our last phone call of the day. Check it out.
Hey, this is Richard, better known as Richard O for Real on Twitter. I have to say the XFL play this weekend was good. My only problem is I think New York, Seattle, and Tampa really needs to change their quarterback because the other guys, they have better quarterbacks, except those 3 teams don't. And I'm getting sick and tired of all the people that hate the XFL, especially pro talk football, wherever the heck they are. They need to go play in traffic just like NBC Sports.
Oh, he's talking about Mike Florio. Needs to play in traffic. In West Virginia, that's where he lives, somewhere, something like that. He's based out of West Virginia or something. Yeah, he should. Just go focus on your NFL. Go focus on that. Your Pro Football Talk NFL. Go away. Go bye-bye. Let the big boys take care of the XFL talk, okay? We don't need you. We don't need your website. Okay, we got XFL News Hub. We got it covered by Mike Florio. Goodbye. I'm with Richard on that one as well. Finally, last two emails. Jamal says, your team is going down in week 7. Any news on if the Viper home games are going to have over 10,000 fans? Nothing about the Vipers home games yet. We haven't heard any numbers from them. The team is not looking good. That's not going to help. But they're an NFL stadium. It'd be good to get that 15,000. And the thing is, I would like to at some point, me and my family, to make our way down to Florida, and then we've kind of talked about that Tampa would be our second if we're in Florida, I'm definitely going to Tampa Bay Vipers games, and I'm maybe Tampa Bay needs to get Johnny Manziel. He's not doing anything. No, they don't need him. But quarterback I think is an issue for them. And I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about Tampa. We'll see how they do. But no, DC is not losing to Tampa Bay unless they get their act together. And we don't know. We have no idea what's going to happen in this league. Trades could happen. It's just going to be real interesting to see. But thanks for Jamal for checking in. And finally, our Tier 1 emailer, Nicholas, always checking in. Our Tier 1 quarterback, our Tier 1 emailer, says, I love the XFL. It was some negatives, one quarterback being quarterback play. It's 3 good quarterbacks in Jordan Ta'amu, P.J. Walker, Cardell Jones. 2 questionable ones in Landry Jones and Josh Johnson. Okay. And 3 bad ones in Aaron Murray, Brandon Silvers, and Matt McGloin. I don't know if this can be corrected this year, but it has to be corrected next year for growth. Eric Alco, Doug Whaley, and Justin King. We'll have to look at some ways to increase quarterback play going forward for next season, as well as the overall play of the league. Secondly, the interviews are fine. It's just how many and how excessive they are at a time. I agree with that. Sometimes it's a little too much, a little too excessive. That's a good word to use to describe that. They are not needed as much as they use them. The same with coaches mic'd up. Also, the league could use more innovative coaches like Pep Hamilton, whether that's someone like Chris Winkie or Mark Helfrich. I don't know. Someone will get fired this year, but the league could use more innovative coaches. Lastly, was the first big missed call in the XFL. Houston was obviously offsides on defense, and that was a big missed call, even though it was a great game, and that kind of hurt because St. Louis most likely wins the game. But that is to be expected. It's only week 2. Overall, I love the XFL. There's been great energy to every game and good product on and off the field. Only get better week to week. I'm interested in seeing week 3, especially St. Louis, who is expected to come out pissed off. Nicholas checking in. Yes, we did mention that call, but that was but Jordan Ta'amu should have seen that the flag. I thought it was a free play too, and I was looking for the flag. He should have looked for the flag before he tried to throw it, and it was in double coverage. I mean, trying, I guess, maybe to get an intercept or a pass interference or something like that, but that just didn't work, and that was just not good. So that's it. Hey, again, thanks our sponsor, Mother's Cantina. Check them out, motherscantina.com. If you want to be part of the show, remember, email podcast@XFL News Hub or call 888-430-72 extension 3 to leave your message on the fan line. We always play them. I just want to hear from the fans. I'm no expert. I like to hear from you guys, so just check in. Whether that's, you can call in, you can send me an MP3 where you can record it 1,000 times and then get it right. Just use your mic on your laptop or use your phone. Not a big deal. Or make a video. You can use your camera on your PC to do it. Not very crazy to make those things up. You can be famous like me. I'm not famous. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, XFL News Hub. Remember to, what else we got? Plus, remember to download our Android and iPhone app, which are huge numbers. And remember to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'll read it on next show. Listen to us. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, TuneIn, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Our numbers are through the roof. Where there was like, this is like 2 weeks before the XFL season, and now it's the XFL season. All that hard work is paid off. Thanks for all the thousands of downloads that we get. It is so fantastic to hear to get you guys involved in the community. Can't wait to get you guys to email me, call in, send me videos, of your take, and MP3s, the whole deal. It's gonna be a lot of fun. This is gonna be a lot of fun, folks. We're only in week 2, going into week 3. So for show notes, go to xflnewshub.com/XFL-podcast, and that's it, folks. It's been a great show. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all my friends in the chat room for hanging out there. He says, does it, AJPS12 says, does the NFL Network even talk about the XFL? I hardly doubt it. They won't. Heck no, they'll never talk about it. I don't think they talked about the AAF, and the AAF was paying them for their airtime or something. All right. That's it for me, folks. Thanks for checking in, and I will see you all. You know what the deal is. Mahalo to my friends. Peace. I pray for you guys. I forgot my kid. Thanks for listening. Mahalo. God bless you all. And I will see you all later.